Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I call August Guam Board of Accountancy meeting to order. Before we begin, let's just reconfirm that the meeting has been properly noticed.
Yep, on August 13th and August 18th.
Okay, so it's been properly noticed, so we will proceed. Present our board members in person, Jenny Chu and Sean Phillips, and Executive Director Dave Sanford. So first item on the agenda, we'll go ahead, we'll proceed with the minutes of last month's meeting, which was July 16th. And it's in the handout.
No problem.
Actually, I remember it was a short meeting, so it wasn't too many to discuss.
Yeah. Well, minutes are fine, I read them. Everything.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything, okay, if there are no issues or questions or comments, can I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve.
I second.
Second by Jenny, thank you. Minutes approved. So on to the next item.
Okay.
Okay,
Do the UOG.
endowment fund.
Endowment fund. If you look at the first sheet there, it shows us that the amount invested is 4.5 million and the value today, 11 years later, is 7.1 million. So we've grown the fund reasonably well over the last 11 years. The second page here shows that we had a ending value as of August 18th of 7.139 million, showing 478,000 as investment results for the year to date. And that's against the ending value at July 31st of 7.035 million. So basically you're looking at about $100,000 gain overall just in 18 days. That's kind of indicates how much the thing fluctuates up and down, $50,000 to $100,000 every other week or so. So, but so far we continue to be okay.
So Dave, at the end, the number says in the column that says inception, so over since 2015, the fund has earned 3 million. Is that how to read that?
Contributions and withdrawals and investment results, yes, that's pretty much accurate.
3 million, this is what it's earned without
Over the years, because we've spent
doing nothing, basically. Okay.
I think in the 4 or 5 years we've had visiting professors, we've probably spent somewhere between 500 and 750,000. So so far on programs. So we're doing okay. And you know, we've continued to make contributions. We've contributed 300,000 this year. So
That's very good, because so many years prior to 2015, we were just putting in TCDs.
Right.
A lot of money. Okay.
And still what we have today in the Bank of Guam, the checking account earns like 0.3%. So we earn $36 a month on $1.5 million, which is not a lot. That's why I'm a proponent of putting as much as we can in the endowment fund, because it earns a whole lot more. To date, for this year, calendar year 26, we're showing a 4.97% performance year to date. Last year was 11.6 and the 24 was 10.4. So that just shows that 26 is a much more volatile year with a lot of different more geopolitical things going on that are influencing the market every other day. You know, the Iran thing, every time Iran says something, the price of oil goes up and the fund goes down. The market goes down. And then the next day they realize, oh, they can't really do that, and it goes right back up. When the market's going up and down, you know, 200 to 500 points every other day is, you know, is what it is. But if you flip through the Raymond James statement back towards the back, you'll find that we paid another I think 16,800, almost 17,000 was taken again, this month, July, for, investment management fees. So that brings our fees year to date to 47,724, so almost 48,000. So, but otherwise, there's no other expenses showing at this point, and gains and losses, realized gains and losses haven't changed since year to date is still a 59.7 loss. So overall, we're still doing fine with the fund. Dr. Calderon, the new visiting professor, is here. He arrived on August the 10th, I believe, and
already.
he's set up already. I think he's working with Dr. Conrad. It's probably showing him around a little bit, and they're both working, already working. The OG's in session for the fall semester. And he's teaching at least two of the regular accounting courses, and I think the two of them are teaching a fraud, some kind of fraud course, some part of the master's program, whatever their fraud course is that I guess works toward everything you need to know to get certified fraud examiner. So I don't know, did you see the email I sent you earlier today about that?
No, earlier today, no.
Yeah, they're asking, would we be interested in supporting the students taking the certified fraud examination? I think there's 8 students in this one class. And Dr. Conrad said it would definitely be to their advantage to take it when they complete the course.
Where did they take it at the testing center here, or?
I guess they could take it here at the testing center, but I think the registration fees like $480 money to pay for it, but it would be to their advantage to take it when they finish the course, because that's what it's geared toward, I guess. There's 8 of them, so.
Yeah, if they do pass it, what does it give them?
It's just a CFE certificate. It's just another credential, but yeah, I thought about taking it a long time ago, but decided I didn't want to do a lot of fraud auditing. Anyway, it's just something to
Okay,
think about.
we'll take a look at it and see what.
Yeah. But they're in full swing, so apparently Dr. Calderon so far is happy to be here, and the students, I guess, are happy to have him. So I know the students usually are happy to have anybody that comes in from off island with the kind of experience they have. So you can't beat it, I guess.
It's all positive.
Yeah, very much so. And I think we're all signed up for the dinner on August the 30th or 31st.
I think it's 31st.
31st.
The Monday.
The Monday.
Yeah. So what Monday is that?
Not next week, but the following
That's the
week.
31st? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Monday, 31st.
Yeah, 31st. Okay. Yeah. So I guess we're all signed up for that. We'll meet him then. So it'll be us and the dean and the visiting professors and probably some of the other people. So I guess Martha and the other accounting faculty.
Okay.
Yeah. So should be fun. Anyway, that's all I have for that, unless anybody had questions.
This is good. But he's here for the whole year, right?
He's here, he's gonna be on island through sometime in October.
That's right.
Then he needs to go back to the States, but he's gonna continue the capstone. I think the capstone project via online with the master's program.
Okay, he's assisting the capstone, or he's.
Yeah, with the master's program.
Oh, the master's,
Whatever
okay.
he's teaching, but the master's program is an online thing anyways. So he's here through sometime in October, which is almost the end of the semester, I guess. So, yeah. Okay. Next is the licenses. I think we have 90.
We have a lot.
Yeah, the growth is catching up. Yeah, we have 93 licenses.
But nobody for Guam.
Yeah, no, none from Guam this time. We have quite a number of Taiwan in there. And people just everywhere, all over, but, yeah, no issues with anybody. I think there's, yeah, there's a couple of reinstatements, so, but, 1, 2, 3. We get reinstatements from people that realize that, oh, I haven't renewed in a couple of years, I'm delinquent, oh, wow, I better do something, and they email us and say, what, what should I do? So they pay the reinstatement fee and prove that they've taken all their CPE in the required time period. And then we can issue them a reinstatement. Most of them aren't practicing in the first place, they're working for private companies or for some of the bigger firms all over the world.
Yeah, so we see it a lot.
Yeah,
These states or cities, this is where they actually reside, or that's their state that they're, well, that's state.
Yeah, this is
They're all
actually-
Guam candidates, so
yeah, they're all Guam
their
Canada.
address.
This is actually where they're living.
they're living, okay,
Yeah.
it's all over.
For the most part, yeah. So we're getting the Japanese and the Taiwanese, Malaysia, Singapore. Marivindi.
Just not the Koreans, right? Where are the Koreans?
The Koreans always seem to go somewhere else. So, where they used to come, they would fill up the test center, but they were never Guam candidates and they always go somewhere
I
else.
think Washington, is it
And
Washington?
mostly, I think, yeah, Washington or Illinois, maybe. Anyway, but that's what we have now. I think we're more or less getting caught up.
Okay, well, it's very good.
Just need approval.
Okay, no questions, can I hear motion to approve?
Move to approve?
Second, thank you, so licenses and applications are approved. So on to the next item on the agenda, Dave.
Okay, the first one is the quarterly candidate performance report. Which is the NASVA thing. And so we have, first page here is the one jurisdiction, which is, this is one for everybody. And just make a couple of notes, it's, we haven't had any real change. So our ranking continues to be pretty steady, is where we are. But if you notice up in the top left corner of this first page where it says same as national, the percentage pass and the average score overall was within a half a point of the national for everybody in the entire nation for the quarter. So right in there with everybody. So then if you look down to where it says candidates and I have the error, which it says 28.7% of total, means that the 1,700 Guam candidates that we have are 28.7% of the total foreign candidates for the entire quarter. So we had a little more than 1/4 of all the foreign candidates. And if you notice, their pass rate's 55.4 and their average score is 72.6. Which is right up there with the overall, which is right up there with the overall for the entire nation, so. I think we can't really argue that the foreign candidates are any better or worse. And then if you look in the middle where it says total candidates and it has by quarter, so this is for 2026. If you look at the first and second quarter, we actually had a 15% increase, which is a little bit of an anomaly because in the past, I would always see the June, the second quarter actually decrease, applications would decrease as opposed to May. And I think that was always because the expiration dates were people taken by quarters, But for some reason, this year, the applications actually increased 15%. When, on an overall basis, you'll see that on a nationwide basis, actually, it increased, but a lot less of an increase. So I was kind of surprised to see that, but,
Yeah,
that's what we're seeing. Hopefully it'll keep increasing, so.
I think AI is making it easier to study.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, but, whatever it is, I was surprised to see it increase 15%. I was thinking it would decrease maybe about 2 or 3%, so. If you look at the graph over on the next page, it's a little bit busy, but, I just highlighted the overall. And this is the overall percentage passed, percentage passing. So when you go back to 2025 quarter one, it was 48%. And that was the first year after the new exam, which was implemented in 2024 Q1. So in 2025 Q1 was 48.8%. And now in the 2026 Q1 and 2 is at 54 to 55%. So it's pass rates have gone up overall, at least for Guam anyway, for us. Then if you turn over to the following page, you have the Guam for the first time candidates. And the first time candidates actually have a little bit higher pass rate than the overall and a little bit higher average score, about 1.5 higher average score. And you'll also notice that our first time candidates, 1,200 of them were international. So that tells me that 500 of our repeating candidates were international. And their pass rate and score is the 61 and the 74 average score. So they're a little higher than the actual average overall. So, and if you
Does that mean first time with respect to a section?
first time they've taken the exam, yeah, for the first, yeah. Yeah, so essentially these people are the ones that first time they registered and actually sat for one section. They may have taken more than one, but this is the first time they've actually taken the exam.
But not first time respective to that section. So if they came and they took one part and then came back and took another part, they would fall under the retake.
Right, right. Yeah, this is the first time they ever took one of these exam sections.
First time test taken.
First time
First time
testing
ever.
Yeah.
That's
First time
that's
test taken.
of a section.
No,
No,
No.
period. So
overall, period. Yeah,
you
first
come
time
back for
they
the
ever,
second one, you're already not
Yeah.
a first timer.
Yeah, I see.
first time they ever took the test, took any part of the
Wow.
test.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Although the
uh,
first time for the section may be more relevant. Data.
Not really, because it just goes all over the place and they can sit one time and take all four, or they can sit one time and take two, or and it's so all over the place, you would never be able to actually quantify what was going on, by section. When they look at the pass rates by section, you can tell this is just first time candidates, but you
Yeah.
never know for how many sections, how many candidates. And that's part of the issue, because you could have one section where you only had one candidate that took it and made an 80 and looked great, but next time you have 6 and they're gonna get 50s. But if you look down at the bottom of the page on the left there too, where degree type is enrolled other is still 70%. So if our first time candidates, which are 98%, 92% foreign, are making an average score and an average pass rate. Average. And if they're all enrolled other for education and they're foreign, which means their English is a second language, so.
So what that means is that most of the people passing or
Yeah,
taking the tests
yeah,
are going through those accounting
schools,
CPA exam schools.
yeah, for the
Wow.
most part,
Okay,
yeah.
that's
And some are the people that are still in school and haven't actually completed their education. So enrolled means they're enrolled in the program to complete their education, but they haven't done it yet.
Well, then more than likely, many of them already took some other bachelor's degree in another subject.
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because there's so many foreign,
Yeah.
but that also
Especially
means
150 hours.
that English is a second language,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, this is telling, this is what this is implying maybe is that you don't really need to go to college.
Well, what's it implying is that you don't really need to have an advanced degree.
Oh, yeah, you don't have an advanced degree, that's
Yeah,
that too.
at a minimum, I mean, if they're doing as well as the entire nation,
You don't need to enroll in a UC or some
Yeah.
university,
yeah,
major in accounting,
yeah,
because
yeah.
if you're one out of 455, there's gonna be 1,300 going
Yeah.
through some.
Yeah.
But if you have a
Accounting-
bachelor's degree and you're enrolled in a program, then you would
Right.
fall under that 70%.
You would fall under the 70% because you would not have completed our education requirement, meaning your accounting courses or your business courses.
So you have to assume that that bachelor degree is not in accounting.
Right,
that's why.
right.
And that's not assuming.
Okay, so they
That-
didn't qualify with their bachelor's
Correct.
degree.
Yeah.
Right,
that
because
makes
that's typically the case. They have probably more than 150 hours of total education,
Yeah,
but they don't have,
They're like, they're engineers or
right,
mothers.
they don't have all our
Economics
accounting and
majors
business
or-
course.
I just say engineers,
Yeah.
but I think they might be smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The economics.
Could be
Then, yeah, then.
engineers, could be like me, classical guitar majors.
Engineers, I always tease my sister Lorraine and my dad who's alive, because they're both electrical engineers, and they said,
Yeah.
oh, and they asked me why didn't I take up engineering, I said, oh, it's too easy. I took the hard way out, and majored in accounting.
Yeah, really.
And they agree.
Surprisingly, you're actually probably right though, because
I
for
said,
them to learn accounting would be a whole different story than us to learn engineering. Anyway, but yeah, that's what it's implying, so. And if you flip over to the next page is the overall for the entire nation, for everybody, all jurisdictions, all 55 jurisdictions. So you're looking at 39,500 overall candidates, 27,000 first time and 15,000 repeat. And their pass rates, the overall pass rate was 55.7 and 72.8 was the average score. So we're right up there with it. If you look at the international candidate, 5,900 of which we had 28%, right? Their pass rate was 55.9%, which is basically the same as everybody. Average score is the same. But if you look at the total candidates for applications, meaning applications by quarter, from the quarter one to quarter two, an increase of 11%. We had an increase of 15%. So and that way we're still holding in, hanging in there. A little better.
so so is the number of candidates increasing? Decreasing? I was trying to figure out what words, but because I'm looking at,
Well, if you look at the total candidates,
yeah,
you can see from quarter one to two, we went from 35,000 candidates in Q1 to 39 in Q2. But last year, it went from 34, to 39 also. So this second quarter is roughly the same. But you can look at the increase over 2 years ago from 30,000 to 39,000. So from 24, 6, then 9,000, so 30% increase.
so there's some increasing,
Yeah, yeah.
not diminishing.
So overall, it's increasing. But then the next two quarters will kind of tell us where it really goes, if it continues or not. So on the whole, we're hanging in there just as well. And the same thing for the next page, which is the first time of all jurisdictions, where the pass rate was 64 and the average score was 75. So we're right up there with that. But the telling statistic is that the enrolled other at the bottom of the page is only 27%. 58% have bachelor's degree and 14, almost 15% had advanced degrees, meaning master's degrees. So where we have almost a reciprocal of the enrolled other, and our candidates do just as well as all the rest, so.
Okay, I see what, that first one I was talking about, where there's more enrolled, that's just for our Guam candidates, which
Right.
of course are foreigners, right, mostly,
Right,
so that's
yeah.
why there's
Yeah,
less bad, but looking at this total overall,
yeah,
there's still a lot more bachelors, because these are all
Yeah.
US.
mostly bachelor's
But
and,
still a large chunk, half, 10,000
yeah,
enrolled
but
other.
15% have master's degrees. 5,000 of them have master's degrees, and our candidates do just as well or better, so. Then if you flip over to the, the listing by state and all that shows you, we still rank, I think number 5 is, it's always, California, New York, Texas, and, I believe Washington, is it Washington? No, not this time. We beat Washington this time. Oh, it's New York.
For the total candidate.
Yeah, so California, New York, and Texas are always more than us. And then sometimes we run neck and neck with Illinois and Washington, so we came out number 4 this time because Washington, we beat Washington by like 55 or 35 candidates. But we're kind of either 4 or 5 most of the time. Everybody else is lower, but if you look at the average scores and the average pass rates, we do just as well as anybody else. In some cases, better. We have an average pass rate of 55.8%. California is 55.1, even though they have 3 times the candidates. But they're Illinois, of course, is a little bit higher. I think they have a little bit higher degree candidates. New York, of course, we still are a little bit higher than them, but basically the same average score. And then Texas is a little bit higher pass rate, but basically the average score is within a point. So I don't see our candidates doing just as well as everybody else overall. Anybody have any more questions about that one?
It's good.
Okay. If not, we can move on to candidate care quarterly report. Which is the one about testing basically. Between April 1st and June 30th. We're looking at the total here of what happened in Q2 of 2026 calendar year. The biggest issue was candidates not able to test. Was 398 out of 563 issues. So, what, 80% almost, 75 to 80%. And I think most of that's just basically weather. Most of it's weather and that kind of thing. Especially when you're looking at April to June where I think there were a bunch of floods in places and stuff like that. All through the United States was having issues. Then they had heat waves and then they had freezing storms, so power outages and stuff, so. But otherwise, all of the other listed issues are actually minimal compared to some of the past years.
So Dave, these are all testing centers, including the
Right,
Guam one.
yeah, this is everything for the entire quarter worldwide, yeah, so. As far as I know. Or
And do you know if there's any
at
issues with
least
the Guam?
nationwide.
Would you know if there's any issues with the Guam one?
Not that I know of. Haven't heard of any. Yeah.
Do they have anybody taking tests?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they do. They got 4,000 some odd dollars worth of surcharge fees,
Oh, good.
I think, for June, I think it was 3,000 some or maybe more.
Is that pretty much keeping pace?
So they're
with
doing,
historical,
apparently, I mean, from what I hear, from Dr. Jones, they're doing okay. They're
because
doing,
they're taking a smaller space, so they have lower,
right,
lower.
yeah, so they have a
operating costs.
lower overhead costs,
But if they can
lower
still
operating
keep the
costs.
same,
And the 3,000 to 4,000 a month that they're getting there for CPA exams from us. Are CPA exams, and I know they're doing a number of other exams, and they've been pursuing other ways of increasing their other exams. So I think they're doing at least okay.
okay,
Um,
it's good.
you know, as far as I know, that's all I hear. So. Okay, so really there's, other than, you know, what do they call it, force majeure. Other than that, I don't think there's any real issues with the exam or the hardware. So the next one is just a recap of John Johnson's recap of legislation passing, you know, with pathways and this is showing all of the people all of the jurisdictions that have signed into law, new law, essentially enabling the bachelor's degree pathway. And then there's a couple filed, and then there's a few of us that haven't done anything yet because we're all still working on it, which includes us, rewriting the whole thing. But we've had one or two inquiries about, are we going to accept the bachelor's degree? And our response has always been that, yes, from a policy standpoint, we've decided to accept it. We just have to get the law changed to allow it. So
So, I guess can we tell people to start using the 150 hours as an excuse and start taking it? So I think there are some that,
we don't have any, I mean, we have never had
Okay.
any restriction about not being able to take it before you get the
Okay.
hours, so
Yeah.
they can take it anytime.
Okay.
So yeah, if they have a bachelor's degree, they should go ahead and take it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see any reason not to. We just have to get the law changed, which is, you know, the first thing we have to do is get the contract for attorney services signed so we can
Yes,
talk to
okay.
the attorney.
I'll start announcing that at
It's
least
been-
at some of our team meetings,
Yeah,
that, hey,
you should.
Is that with the Attorney General?
Still sitting at the attorney general's 4 months now. And every time we call, we're told that it's in the queue and they're
well,
working on it.
there's possible one of 5 running, right? What is it? There's 5 running?
Yeah, I don't know, but,
Doug, Phil,
yeah, anyway, I guess we'll see what happens, but,
I think 4 or 5 are running.
Uh,
I can't remember. Yeah.
I did tell
Five.
Fred that,
Five.
Fred Horick, he is the attorney, and I told Fred, we're waiting on the contract to get signed. You know, we can't really do anything until the AG signs off on it, and, you know, I told him if he has any, you know, ability to speed him up, do so. But we'll see. You know. Anyway, that's where we're at with that. We just need to get it
Okay.
done. The next page is the mobility map. And the reason they're talking about mobility here is that, what they're mainly, emphasizing in terms of mobility is that a lot of these jurisdictions have accepted firm mobility, which means that the firm can practice in their jurisdiction without requiring a license as long as it has a valid license in its headquarters jurisdiction. We don't have firm mobility for obvious reasons. If we did, every firm in the country could come here and do audits without ever registering or having a license. We require a firm permit, and somebody here, in an office to do, audits. Unless, if there's a firm in another jurisdiction that has a firm permit to do audits and they come here to do audit procedures on a branch of a company that's headquartered elsewhere, then that's fine. But we don't require a license for that. But if they're gonna come audit a Guam company that's headquartered here, they have to have a firm permit to practice and do audit here, so. But that's why most of this mobility issue here is about firm mobility being changed, and some of them have changed their laws to address. Well, what if a state has people that get a license that don't have a bachelor's degree? Are we gonna accept them or not for mobility, stuff like that? And I don't see any issue with that, and we don't see any need to change it. I mean, we basically have individual mobility, which a number of these, I think, changed to address the fact that they allow individual mobility no matter what, so.
This is a lot, 40 is pretty
Yeah.
fast already.
Yeah, well, it's been a year and a half, 2 years, and yeah, a lot of them got on the bandwagon, so. But there's still a few that are having issues, and then we're just having to get through the red tape issues, so that's where we stand. But we're not affected by any of the mobility changes here. We still have all the individual mobility, and when we change our law, we'll be in compliance with the pathways that all the other ones have accepted, so there won't be any mobility issue with that either. No, shouldn't be a problem. Any questions?
Yep, looks good.
So, a film permit to practice, if you want to, if you work on a test engagement on Guam, but what if I went to one of these jurisdictions?
From a mobility standpoint, you have personal mobility, so individual mobility, so you can go to any other jurisdiction that right now they all have mobility. And you can practice without having a license in that state. If you're going to move there or open an office there, then that's a different story. But if you're just gonna go there to do a tax return or even most of the other ones, now that they accept firm mobility, and then you can do audit also.
Yeah, I guess that's my
Yeah.
question.
They don't, I'm not aware of any of the other jurisdictions that have a provision that says if they can't audit
Yeah,
here, you
just
can't
a-
audit.
yeah.
there.
It's
Like the
I'm not aware.
reciprocity
reciprocity sort of,
treatment.
No,
yeah,
not
okay.
anymore.
Oh, so we don't need to have a firm mobility pass here to avail of
To
mobility.
go elsewhere, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they may say that you have to have a firm permit you'd have to have a firm permit here in order to go there.
Yeah,
Act as a firm.
right,
But you don't have to get a firm permit there.
yeah,
That's what most of them are saying now. They've all adopted firm mobility, but we have not, so.
yeah,
The reasons are obvious, same reason Hawaii doesn't, same reason the
Yeah.
Virgin Islands don't, because they'd be inundated by all the guys that wanna fly in,
Yeah.
take the money and leave, so we can't afford that, so. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
amen, there you go. So we can move on, it's just the next one where I put the whole thing in here basically just for the record, so anybody has it if you're interested, but it's the private equity and alternative practice structures in the accounting profession recommendation memorandum from the NASBA task force. It's intended to serve as a practical resource for boards as they evaluate the regulatory implications of private equity investment and alternative practice structures. Presents policy options, implementation considerations, and examples that you can evaluate based on your own statutory authority, framework, and public protection responsibilities. It's encouraging boards to consider whether their existing laws and rules provide sufficient authority to obtain information, preserve CPA control, promote transparency, and support effective peer review. So it includes practical tools, sample licensure and renewal affirmations, implementation checklists, and fact sheets. Essentially, the task force decided to come out with this memorandum that basically gives jurisdictions some guidance in terms of evaluating private alternative practice structures and private equity investments in their jurisdiction. based on their laws and what they have on the books today and what they might need in order to maintain some semblance of control over this. It's a good thing. I mean, there's some recommendations that we can all use from a jurisdiction standpoint. But overall, I wanted to put it in here just so everybody's aware of it and we have it for reference. But I think I'll go through it and see if there's anything we're gonna need to do in terms of being prepared ultimately while we are in the process of changing our law. At this point, we don't really have any issues with alternative practice structures or private equity investments. I think simply because all of the firms here are so small, doesn't make any sense for anybody to get involved in it.
Yeah.
There are no firms, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, but there's no firms here that are big enough that you could viably separate the audit business from all the other stuff and make money on just one part of it and maintain the whole structure.
Yeah.
It's from a cost standpoint, it's just not viable.
Yeah, plus I
Investment versus cost, you're not gonna earn enough on the investment, right?
don't think so.
Is that what they said?
Yeah, plus, well, at least for Guam, our Guam law requires what, 50% or
Right.
more, a majority control ownership by
CPAs, yeah.
US
License-
CPAs.
Licensed US CPAs.
Yeah, so I don't know if alternative private structures would be willing to purchase less than that. I mean,
Right, yeah.
and not have some sort of control.
So, yeah.
I think, I mean, that's.
Yeah, well, from what I see, most of what's happening in the States is they're taking the bread and butter monthly business, which is essentially the quote bookkeeping or, non-assurance service side of the business. They stick it over here and it has a standard ongoing cash flow. And that's really what they're after.
Yeah.
And then they put the assurance over there and you guys do your thing and this, you'll share, but we're gonna bill you for all this other stuff.
The insurance business is the foundation that brings in the credibility, compliance,
Right.
and then just everything else just flows
But the
around.
cash flow is
Yeah,
from that.
that's where.
Yeah, consulting,
Yes,
all of that, yeah, so. When you separate it like that, I don't think there's any firms here that are really big enough to do that.
No, I think the other firms that are,
To make it
they're
work.
looking at, they're looking at, it's private equity, so they're looking for
Right.
rate of return, right?
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
think we're
Yeah.
not making the return yet.
No.
We're not making the returns that they're looking
I
for.
don't think any of us are making the returns they're looking for. But yeah, I think that's the real issue. I mean, the returns aren't there to justify the cost of the structure. Or restructuring even, I mean, because of the legal restructuring you have to do.
Yeah.
And some of the other stuff. The bigger issues with a lot of the other jurisdictions that have some of the really big firms that do that. Is how complicated it gets with the private equity structure where they have multiple LLCs maybe that are doing this, that, or the
Yeah.
other. There could be one over here that could influence the one over here, and there's no way for this guy to know that that's a problem.
Yeah.
And, how do you maintain independence and all that when you're doing the audits and stuff, so.
Well, see, CNMI is changing theirs. I haven't read their latest draft, but currently it requires 100% ownership by
Yeah,
US CPAs,
Yeah.
individual CPAs.
yeah, right, yeah.
But I think they're changing that, I think,
I
right?
don't know, I have to ask Dave.
I was saying maybe Dave wrote that himself.
Yeah.
He's just been trying to get the damn thing passed for the
Yeah.
last 10 years.
I think the draft that I thought I saw said it changed it. You didn't
and the-
require
And
100% ownership of US
the
CPAs.
existing law is still from 1982 or
1982.
something like that.
When Dave wrote it.
No, it's from a long time ago that he got, and it's never been changed because he's been trying for 10 years to get the damn thing passed. And he got halfway there once and then the session expired and he has to start over.
Must be the 80s, because that's so traditional that require
Yeah.
100% ownership by
Yeah.
US CPAs.
Yeah.
You can't have any
Well,
consultants be a partner.
Well, I mean, some of the other jurisdictions, even Florida. Excuse me, Florida and some of the other ones. you can have non-CPAs as owners, they can't be majority, but, some of the other, states, and Florida is one of them, says, if you have a firm that has this many partners, each partner has to put up this much money in equity. So if you're gonna create a firm, if you want, say, 4 partners and they require $50,000 of equity per partner, you gotta have, 200,000 in equity to create the firm. They won't allow you to license a firm without having some stated amount of equity, and the more partners you have, the more equity you gotta have. So there are a number of jurisdictions that do things like that too, so.
Yeah.
If you wanna create a big firm, you have to be prepared, so.
Isn't there also an issue with, like the non-assurance side of the house? Referring to your firm as a CPA firm, right?
Well, there are some jurisdictions that get really picky about
Uh-huh.
how you handle the title.
Yeah,
And what was happening was the firms that had the private equity investment, and some of these separated issues were telling their, employees that our CPAs don't use your title because we don't want you to get us in trouble.
uh-huh,
That's the only reason they're saying it, but, the CPAs are saying, I'm a CPA and I'm fully licensed, there's no reason I shouldn't be using my title. Okay,
so as an individual, you can,
then as
continue
an
to use-
individual,
yeah,
I
call
should be
yourself
able
a
to use
CPA.
why can't I call myself a CPA?
but how about the firm?
And, well, the firm itself, some of them will say they're CPA, some will, it depends on the jurisdiction.
Uh-huh.
There are some really picky jurisdictions
Yeah.
that try to, nitpick everything, so.
Yeah,
But for the most part, we've had that discussion a couple of times in the executive director meetings every time I go, and every time we talk about it, most of the executives are, what's the big deal? You're a licensed CPA, you should be able to use your title. Who wants to spend all the money to become a CPA and all the effort and everything else you go through and then be told, don't use your title? So, it's a jurisdiction by jurisdiction thing, but, yeah, some of the firms, the bigger firms
mhm,
Somebody asked me that at work.
are afraid
But
to.
I don't know the
use
answer
it,
anymore.
so they just don't put CPA in
Yeah.
their firm
Yeah.
title, yeah. And they don't talk about assurance, and it's like, well, we're like, but it's the whole reason we got CPA in the first place, was to be able to advertise it.
yeah,
We know what we're doing, right? So. Yeah, so it depends on the jurisdiction, yeah. We don't have any of those issues at this point. We don't have any private equity issues at this point. Which is a good thing, so. I'm kind of hoping we don't ever, but I'll have to take a look at some of these suggestions and see if we need to put anything in our law about it, one way or the other. If I can ever get attorney contract. Anyway, that's what it's there for. I mean, great bedtime reading. If you're
Good you
really,
highlighted it.
if you're really
Helps.
interested, yeah. Just a few of the points that, some of the things that might make a difference to some areas. Okay. We can move on to the financial statement if you want.
Yes, that's what
You take a look at the graph, which is the applications, you can see, basically what happened, from, May to June and June to July. Our app, that's the lower line, the purple lines on the bottom. That's 25 and 26, which just kind of keeps intertwining itself. And it shows you that basically from an application standpoint, we're just as well off this year as we were last year. So the applications are holding in there. And then the upper lines up here are the sections. And the applications held steady, but the sections came down a little bit. between June and July, but the sections went up from April to May to June, so in that sense, we were fine, so. And our sections have stayed above last year for the last 2 months. And above last year for a couple of the first 2 months, so on the whole, we're doing a whole lot better. And the applications are still increasing, so year-to-date revenue, we're looking at 255,000 in actual application fees, and our budget was 300, which means we only need 45,000 more, which it's been averaging 20,000 a month, so I think we're gonna hit that. The test center fees, our test center fees are the 2,700. That was for last October of last year, and that was the last year that we were operating the test center. As of November 1st, it transferred to the UOG or RCUOG. Our certification fees are 131. They're, that's the 193 licenses we just put in place. So if we do another 50 to 100 the next 2 months, we'll hit our budget there. And then our individual licensing fees are really our renewals. So we're only basically 25,000 short of our budget. And I'm sure we'll get that because we still have lingering renewals from.
But the bulk of them are done by June, right?
Well, the bulk of them are getting done between June and July because they submit. A whole lot of them come in like the last week of June, but it takes us almost a month to process everything at this point. And John hand wears out every once in a while.
We're spreading it out, so it's just good.
Yeah.
The
Well, I'm
trick is-
hoping that we can avoid all of this next year.
Yes,
We get our
I hope
system
so.
in place.
Because the trick is, once it comes in a bunch, I just have to stop and
Yeah, just do
do it,
it.
because otherwise, so this is, yeah,
Oh, man, I was
Take-
told my
take-
certificate is ready.
Take an aspirin so the blood flows freely and just keep moving. Yeah, we need an auto pin.
Still.
Yeah. So individual, the firm license fees are the same, and then of course we always pick up about 50 grand in penalties and fees,
Wow.
of which I'm one this year. So I don't know how I screw up once in a while, but it's out to pay the penalty fee. People email in all the time, "Can I waive the penalty fee?" Blah blah blah. I'm like, no, if I pay it, you pay it. We all pay
That's
it.
a good reason. Yeah, it's a good.
End of story.
response.
Yes. Contract wise, we're fine. We'll be under our 322, I think, or right at it. All the other stuff is okay. The postage has gone out of sight. Of course, postage went up. Postage has gone up like every other month over the last 2 years.
But that's
But-
just recovered through the fees though, right?
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
most of it. So, and then we made our 300,000 contributions. So even with that, we now have 102,000 of excess revenue. And I have a feeling with everything we'll do in the next 2 months, we'll probably wind up with about 130, maybe 150,000 total excess revenues. And that'll leave us down. And if you look at the very bottom line, the unrestricted fund balance would probably be around 350. And we could easily make another contribution. We have 1.5 million in the bank, so we can easily make another contribution to the endowment fund. And I'd be happy to make 500,000, because it just earns so much more in the endowment fund than it does in the checking account. On 1.5 million, we earn like $35-40 a month. And if we put 500,000 into the endowment fund, we'll earn a lot more than checking account will earn over the next 10 years.
Yeah. Well, it's good.
But otherwise, we're doing fine. Our revenues are fine. I'm happy to say that the budget, I have to check the bill that was passed, but, our budget in the bill that just passed, because, the bill passed, the governor vetoed it, and then they just passed a revised.
Okay,
But, our budget, our revenues budget that we had, that the board approved is actually included in this new budget for FY 27.
okay, so it's back up to
So they're using our 800 some odd
885,
thousand,
okay,
whatever we, I can't remember exactly, but whatever we projected and approved for our FY 27 budget,
okay,
that amount is included in the budget bill that was passed.
okay,
So, we also are included in the provision that says that we are, able to spend everything relative to whatever funds we have. So, we can spend up to the amount of funds that we have or collect or whatever have available. So we don't have to wait for an additional appropriation to make a contribution. We can make it anytime we want. And in whatever amount we want. So it's up to the board to decide when and how much to contribute.
okay. Everybody contributed for FY, so it's just next year, okay,
Yeah,
FY 27.
yeah,
But we could do more within the year.
we
if want
could, yeah, if we want to.
Within next year or this year,
to.
fiscal?
I think we're talking about this year, right?
Either one. I mean, the fiscal year is gonna end in September, so we could do one. We could make a contribution in September, or we could.
100,000,
Yeah,
okay. We have a board meeting in
maybe
September
200.
or 200, we can probably get that approved in the next board meeting. Here.
I think that would be fun if we did 200 in September, and then next year we could do more again, so,
I don't know if but we have a gangbuster August then.
yeah,
Be bigger.
yeah. Yeah, well, I'm thinking that, we're probably gonna wind up with another, maybe somewhere between 30 to 60,000 in, excess revenues for the
Okay.
next month or so. Overall, we'll probably make another 50, 60. Well, it's probably gonna be revenue wise, it'll be 100 some, and then, for the 2 months, and then we have to take out the expenses, so we probably have excess revenues of 30 to 60,000 for the next 2 months.
So the next board meeting is the 17th, so
Of September, yeah.
September, so we could, in
Right
theory,
before we leave. We could
Well,
approve it then,
from there,
yeah,
we'll just pay it out before the end of the month, okay.
For
right,
the 100, right?
right. I would do
200, okay,
that would give us 500 for the year,
okay,
yeah.
But it can't,
And-
it can't make it negative though.
Well, we can if we want to.
No, but I thought you said that we're limited by how much was.
No. We're limited by our fund balance.
Oh, fund balance,
Yeah,
not what it.
not just you,
the
not
income.
just a year, but
Oh,
our fund
okay.
balance.
Oh,
we got a lot
I
there.
misunderstood, yeah,
yeah,
not just, oh, that's a
yeah.
lot.
but we're expecting. Because our financials are only in July, we still have August and September, so it should
Right.
end up
Yeah,
positive, hopefully.
yeah.
Why is 1,250,000 designated as
Well,
restricted?
in the past, when we depended on our test center revenues, right?
Mhm.
That's where it started. We depended on test center revenues to support the board. Without the test center revenues, we couldn't pay all our bills, right?
Uh-huh.
And then we reached a milestone point where we finally got to the point where we have enough licensees and enough recurring revenue
Uh-huh.
that we didn't need it, but when we were relying on the test center revenues, what I did was I took the average, this calculation is an average of the previous 3 years' total expenses for the previous 3 years.
Mhm.
So I calculate an average and multiply that by 3, so I have the restricted fund balance is essentially 3 years worth of average expenses. So that if anything happens and our revenue source, say for instance, COVID comes again and nobody can take the exam for 2 years, and we don't get any revenue from exam people or whatever, we'll still have enough money to operate. So it's a 3-year cushion of expenses based on expenses, average expenses over the last 3 years.
Yeah, so it's more of a reserve.
Yeah.
It's a reserve, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I put it as
I
restricted.
think we decided to label it restricted,
yeah.
I don't know, maybe 10 years ago.
Well, we restricted it,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
you know,
Because it's about 400,000.
yeah. Yeah, so.
We have it right here. We have 3 years too.
Yeah, so that's what the calculation is, so. Yeah, so, yeah, it's always around somewhere between 350 and 400, so, you know. But that's what it's based on, so, but, we're, according to the budget laws, FY 26 and 27. We are enabled to spend up to our fund balance.
Well, okay,
So they did that for all the special.
Restricted or otherwise.
Yeah, yeah, they did that for all the special revenue funds. They basically said you're allowed to spend up to whatever you have.
I mean, in the past, we've had discussions about, okay, can we just provide CPE, but we're doing that
Yeah.
already through the visiting professor.
Yeah,
So no need to really pay for
Yeah.
CPE
Right.
because the visiting professor is supposedly covering that
right,
twice a 2 days, right?
1 day,
Or 1 day for this
Yeah.
guy, okay.
1 day per semester.
Per semester.
Yeah, we had Conrad do 2 days because he was here.
Oh, that's right.
He was here for the whole
I'm
year.
getting confused now, yes, so,
So we'll have
Yeah.
something with the current museum.
Yeah, we have to arrange that.
Before he leaves.
Probably
in
looking at,
Oc-
he
October.
leaves in
it's
October.
built into the contract,
Yeah,
yes, provide 1 day.
so, yeah, so I have to probably do it sometime, I'd like to do it in September before I leave, so at least I could actually attend.
Oh, yeah,
For one, cause I always miss the free one.
yeah, me too. I
It's
missed
like
the
in
free one.
October, we're always gone for the meeting.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Let's have, we're all here until we can avail of the free 8 hours.
Yeah, really. So, that's all I have.
Yeah, that's good.
The annual meeting is in Arizona in October. I think it's 25 to 29.
Wow, okay,
Uh,
did Polly
good.
say she wants to go?
She does,
Okay.
and they're now approving at least 2 people.
Yeah,
I
good.
mean, if
There you go.
anybody else wants to go.
And I think I'll pass on this one. Yeah.
Yeah, Arizona
That's
is so
another plan.
exciting. Jen, you wanna go? No? Yeah.
I'll let you know, it's,
Yeah.
it's, not because it's Arizona. but
Well, I
the fact
can, yeah, I can request a scholarship anyway.
Yeah, it's just a
Whether-
tight, because they have
Whether
to
you
be,
use it or not, it's up to you.
okay, okay.
You can go to Sedona.
It's what's the name of the
Joshua
place?
Tree.
It's some,
Oh,
it's some,
interesting.
it's some place, it's like right outside of Phoenix, it's a suburb of Phoenix, I forget what they call it, some park thing or something, but it's the Indian Wigwam Hotel or something
I
like
think,
that.
I think I Googled it.
Yeah, so,
Okay,
yeah,
It's like it's a massive golf course.
yeah, right, it's a big resort place, for probably well-to-do
Yeah, it's kind of
people.
off on its own, not
Like
too
Tony.
much around.
Yeah, like Tony says, it has all the favorite stuff you like to do, like golf and tennis, which of course I don't do any of that. I like to go fishing. So she always teases me about that.
You're not gonna survive in a retirement community.
No, not very well, yeah. Yeah, of course now if they play mahjong and dominoes and things, maybe, but.
okay,
Anyway,
can I hear, if there's no other business to discuss, can I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move to adjourn.
Second by Kay.
okay,
Okay, meeting
thank
adjourned.
you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Do they have to come in and turn it off? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Record.
Maybe I don't.
All right, Jenny.
Okay.